believe in the gun. And our players don't use it most days. They use it every day.
In my 20 years as head coach, I've used the gun every single year. Well, my dream as a coach that everybody would grow up with the gun, because getting all those reps would make my job a lot easier.
Hello, everyone. Tom McDonald, NABC Board of Directors, 2-year college coaches, rep, also been with Championship Productions for 20 years. We have a distinct privilege to have Jamie Dixon on, but before I go through his bio and introduce him, we've got some thank yous to do. First of all, Troy Hilton's on from the NABC. From the NABC staff, Jim Haney, Reggie Mitten, Troy Hilton, and the rest of the staff have been unbelievably supportive of making sure that we're getting things out social media-wise and just being supportive of this webinar series. Next one is The Gun for being kind of the underwriter, the sponsor of it to get this going. Sideline Interactive is going to give away an $11,000 8-foot LED board for their sideline and free shipping. Craig Reed from KBA provided clipboards, marker boards, magnetic boards to coaches that needed them. Special thanks to Mike Bray, the past president of the NABC and now current and going to join us in a second. Jamie Dixon and our board of directors have been nothing but supportive in helping promote these and being involved on these webinars. Our numbers have been through the roof and greatly appreciated, and I hope people enjoy them. Like I said, my distinct honor of introducing Jamie Dixon, but his background is very interesting. It shows his different levels of coaching. He was at junior college, and then he went to Santa Barbara, Hawaii. And then in 1994-98, he was at Northern Arizona, went back to Hawaii. In 1999 to 2003, he was associate head coach at Pittsburgh. And then when Coach Howland left in 2003, he took over until 2016 as the head coach. Unbelievable success. I've written down, while he was at Pittsburgh, he was 328 and 123, 73% winning percentage, 12 appearances in the NCAA tournament. He's currently the head coach at TCU, going back home where he went to college. 3-time NIT appearances, 1 championship, Sweet 16 twice, Elite 8 once, career records 404, 166, 71% winning percentage. He's also the CBI champion in 2012. So with that, I'd like to welcome. He's also been a member of the NABC, which we've tried to denote on every one of our speakers for 28 years. So with that, a warm welcome to Coach Dixon at TCU. Coach, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you? Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Well, my first question is this: you've really been all over the place. I guess my first question is, you went to Hawaii, you went to Northern Arizona, and back to Hawaii. Did you just enjoy it that much, or?
Well, in the politics of coaching, certain moves have to be made that don't seem to make sense on the from the outside. But it made me think about when you talk about 28 years as a member of the NABC. I was with Riley Wallace at the University of Hawaii. He was the head coach there, first guy that hired me, gave me a job, and he was a big proponent of the NABC. First thing I think he did when I got there was sit me down and tell me that sign up for the association, be a member of the NABC. And he was one of the first coaches to get involved with Coaches vs. Cancer at Hawaii, which was one of the biggest involved programs in Coaches vs. Cancer, obviously through the NABC as well. So that's what I remember about first with beating with Coach Wallace getting me there. But yeah, like you said, at Hawaii, it was the restricted earnings. You probably don't even know about it. I was a restricted earnings coach at Hawaii. To say I was paid is a bit of a exaggeration. $12,000 a year at the University of Hawaii. If you've ever paid the rent in Hawaii, that doesn't get you much. But so I was there for 2 years on that, and the rule kind of had started on my third year, and I could only be there a couple of years as the restricted earnings. There was a year, I think it was 4 years was the max, and not that you can live off 12,000 for a lot of years, but in that position, but in Hawaii. But I did that, moved to Northern Arizona, and then I was asked to come back to Hawaii as in a full-time assistant once they got rid of the restricted earnings. So it was a more livable wage, and I was engaged at the time, and my wife was from Hawaii too. So that probably is the real reason to that story.
Coach, I was a restricted earnings too.
Yeah.
How did you like getting that lawsuit check at the end? Did that work out a little bit?
Yeah, that was good. I remember that. I think I was getting married at the time, so I don't think I saw the check. I think it's somehow. I learned early. I learned quick how that worked.
So let me ask you, before we go to Troy and talking more about the NABC, working for these few different guys and moving around, how did that prepare you? You know, you worked with Ben Hallen and Coach Wallace at Hawaii. How did that set you up, and how did that help you prepare you for being the head coach at Pittsburgh and then at TCU and going back home?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, obviously moving, being at different spots, Santa Barbara as a GA, I was a graduate assistant there, and I was helping out while I was playing. I was playing overseas in New Zealand, so I kind of, in the seasons were opposite. I'd help out at Valley College, working guys out, working with them. So yeah, I've seen all levels. I mean, I'm a juke. Do you hear me? I'm a JUCO guy at heart, and so that's where I started out. So Hawaii, we did a lot of international recruiting as well as junior college recruiting. So I think I've seen. I think it was great to see all different types of levels, different types of recruitment. And I think it really helped us as far as going to Pitt, opened up another region for us, and now back at TCU, obviously where I played. But all those moves early in my career, as we have to do oftentimes, and then thinking maybe I'm just going to Pittsburgh for usually our careers go, but ended up being there 17 years, loved every minute of it. And then, this opportunity to come back to my alma mater, come back to Texas, and 4 years here now. And like I said, hoping to be another long run and another 17 years here at TCU. So interesting that all the movement we did, but then I've been very fortunate since raising a family. We were in one spot, and now we're moved to TCU here for this our second move as a family.
Troy, before I turn it over to you. Troy, before I turn it over to you about the NABC, I also didn't do a very good job on introducing Coach. He was a 1987 seventh-round draft pick of the Washington Bullets, and you're also a Screen Actors Guild. You're an actor at the age of 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's a very important note that you have to have in there. And every guy that's trying to give me a little dig, but and I knew you would do it, Tom. But yeah, that was you grew up in Hollywood. It's kind of everybody on your little league team is a Academy Award winner in the making. You just don't know it at that time. But yeah, it's kind of my dad moved from the Bronx. My parents were from the Bronx. When I was born, they moved out to Los Angeles, and my dad chased his dream of working in the movie business. So I got raised right down the street from Universal Studios, and awesome. So I know you've been there before. Yeah. So
Troy, go ahead.
My parents are still there.
Troy, go ahead.
Well, before we let the Screen Actors Guild thing die, Jamie was kind enough a couple of years ago. I don't know if he knew what he was committing himself to, but kind enough to do a promotional spot for the Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge for us a few years ago. Him and Fred Hoiberg, by far my favorite one we ever did. So anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen that, you'll have to Google that and find it on YouTube. It's the best one we ever did. And we're getting crap about the Screen Actors Guild, but it was really funny, Jamie. It was really good.
Yeah, but Hoiberg stole the show. I was the backup. I was the not the star of that. That was strictly Hoiberg with his dance moves. That was I couldn't believe that side of him as it came out for that commercial. I was sure glad you picked him than me to do that.
I don't think he knew.
Don't show that.
To that either.
No, he didn't.
So one of the questions I've been asking people is how they got introduced to the NABC. You already touched on that.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised. I mean, I did a lot of work with Riley Wallace.
Right.
A lot of years. Helped him get a suite every year at the Final Four. You guys would do some sort of hospitality for was it the Rainbow Tournament? Is that what it was?
Well, yeah, that was the Rainbow Tournament, Rainbow Classic, when that was the premier tournament in the country. I mean, my first year there, we had it was an 8-team tournament, and we were it was the Final Four of it was Kansas, North Carolina, Michigan, and of course Hawaii, because we had assigned ourselves a nice win in the first round. So it was those 3 teams ended up in the Final Four. Of course, Hawaii. 3 of those teams ended up in the Final Four. I'll let you guess which one of those 4: Hawaii, Michigan, North Carolina, and Kansas. And one of them didn't get to the Final Four. I'll let you guess which one it was. But that tournament was unbelievable. We had a hospitality room, a suite that was hosted. And it was that was the job of the restricted earnings, because you had no money, but you could live off the food in the hospitality suite and the drinks, macadamia nuts and the rest. So that we brought with us. So yeah, it was it was a great time, and I was just so fortunate to work with such a great person and coach as Riley Wallace. But so many things had to. I think work with people on a campus, and just recognize the value of and the importance of every person that works for your athletic department. And then things like the NABC. I mean, he loved the game, and he lives out in Vegas here now, retired obviously, but certainly one of the great coaches, underrated coaches in the country. He won big consistently at Hawaii, and just a great man. And like I said, first thing he said is sign up for the NABC. He walked around with his card all the time, showing how many years he was a member of the NABC.
Well, I know Riley and Reggie Minton, my boss, were really close.
Yeah.
And I remember one time early on, I was with Reggie, and he was going to go meet a coach for lunch, asked if I wanted to go. And I said, sure. And it was Ben. And you were with him at that same lunch. So
yeah.
We've known each other quite a while. I don't remember what year that was, but it's been a while.
That was when we were talking about getting in your tournament. I remember that. I remember talking to you about that and getting in the tournament. And but Ben, there was no way he was going to get into the he was looking for the easiest games possible at that point. We had just started out at Pitt trying to build that thing.
Well, so I feel like I'm going back the most with you for of all the coaches I work with. So we've got some history. But you've been with the NABC 28 years. I've been working there 27. So I've been there for quite a while, and I've seen a lot of growth and a lot of change at the NABC. But man, I can't imagine a time that had more change and more turnover and more hot topics than Mike Bray's presidency transitioning now into your presidency. What are your thoughts of just all the things that are going on with the NABC right now from your perspective as the reigning president?
Yeah, no, I joke with Mike. And Mike, the great thing is that Mike and I have been very close over the years. Obviously, he was at Notre Dame and I was at Pitt. And so we were there for years. We've been very good friends. And we've worked really well together because really in the last year, once we knew with Troy and with Jim and his retirement, we've kind of teamed up together on this thing with the search for Jim's replacement, and then all these rules that we have coming into play. We've worked really well together. So now that he's so-called moved on, I've made it very clear that he's staying on board for the search and these major topics that are coming up for us. I mean, like you said, there's so many things that involved right now at the NABC, and it's just strictly timing. I mean, just with the rules coming up, NIL, the transfer rule, obviously, single one-time transfer exception. I mean, there's just so many different things going on, and I joke about it too, because Mike and I were probably the two quietest guys in the board meetings over the years. I mean, we just kind of quiet, listen, let the other guys do it. Now all of a sudden we're the two guys and back to back that are kind of working on the search and Jim's retirement and planning that and bringing the recognition that Jim really deserves for all he's done. But with all these different things, I mean, I've talked more on the last 2 days on just phone calls, NABC phone calls, than my whole career on the NABC.
Tom, you're muted.
Troy, can I ask you one question to Coach?
Yeah, absolutely.
My question is, for these younger coaches, high school, junior college, NAI, Division 3, 2, 1, why should they get involved? I mean, what's the benefit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you get asked that question a lot, and especially for younger coaches and getting into it. And I think you've got on my resume there, you got you talked about the college, but my first coaching job, it says Tiati College on there, and you probably didn't know what that meant.
I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so it's Tiati when I was and it says Tiati College, and I just put that on my resume because it looks like but it's actually Tiati College in New Zealand, and a college in New Zealand is actually a high school. So it may look like I was coaching a Final Four team there, but it actually was a high school team that I actually started up the team. All the guys I brought were from the rugby team. They asked me to start a basketball team at a local boys boarding school, Maori boys boarding school. So all the guys were rugby players. So we were physical, we were tough, we weren't very skilled, and the rules were kind of a little shaky, but we did all right. But that's my first coaching job, unless you count the 10-year-old girls team that I coached right before that. And that was a team that I took off the netball court in New Zealand. And they were pretty good, though. So they had unique passing skills because they played netball. And knowing you're from Iowa, I don't know if you know the game of netball. Do you know what netball is?
I saw it in Cancun and in where was it? In Antigua.
Jamaica. Antigua. Yeah. It's big in the Caribbean, the Commonwealth, any of the teams that have any of the countries that have a Commonwealth or have some English backgrounds. So yeah, it's no dribble, a basket with no net and no backboard. So it tests your skill level and your touch. But so that was my first coaching job. So I've been at all different levels, and going to Hawaii and starting out there. In my mind, I never thought I'd be coaching at a Power 5 or being a head coach or in that level. I really wanted to be a junior college coach. That's why I wanted to be in California. That was my goal at Valley College. I went to Santa Barbara to get my master's so I could get one of those jobs. So, but always, again, I didn't know what it was going to take, but the importance of joining the NABC. So when I joined, it wasn't to get to this highest level or what. It was really just because of what Coach had told me and the value of it and the camaraderie that comes of it. And but I'm hoping there's more things to come. I mean, I think this is a great thing right here. I mean, with unusual circumstances, tough times, comes some amazing changes sometimes, some opportunity. And I know we've talked about clinics and doing more NABC and webinars. I know you talked about, given the situation, this has been, I think, Tom, right, you decided to move this up and bring this out because of where we're at. So I just think there's maybe a lot more opportunities that we're going to bring forward like you're doing here right now. So this is another added aspect of it. But I think camaraderie, you care for the game, the importance of it, the coaches you meet and connect through it with the convention. It's your professional organization. I mean, in any business, any career, it's a professional organization, and this is it. And I think we need to do a better job of reaching out and getting Division II, Division III, junior college, high school coaches, and we've got to do that. But maybe this is our opportunity here right now. That Tom has done such a great job bringing it to our attention, putting this all together, and I hope we can bring this, because we all know we're all coaching the same game, and the best coaches are high school guys and Division II, Division III. I mean, we've got so many things to share with each other, and just hopefully this one might be another step to doing that.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to give one last thing on the side of the NABC and then see if Troy has anything, and let's go to the 4 out, 1 in. We have the NABC's got the benevolency fund. So when coaches get on this webinar series, there's an opportunity to donate money to the benevolency fund. I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to need help and a lot of programs. And I'm just saying to everybody on the phone or on the webinar, hey, if you can, and you may be one of those coaches that are going to need help, but if you can, we've already had a lot of people. I think we've had 42 or 32 people have already donated money to the benevolency fund. This is for people who need help, coaches that may need something, their program may need something. I know Jim Haney, this is kind of his baby. He really helped a lot of coaches and people when they had their hurricanes. But if you want to speak on that a little bit, but I'm just asking people, if you can, give. If you can't and you need, if you're a member of the NABC, you can actually ask for a donation or help. But if you, Troy and Coach Dixon, if you want to talk about benevolency fund for a second, and then Troy, if you have anything, and then let's go into the 4 out, 1 in.
Yeah, that was. I think I just gotten onto the board, and people have always asked, what things do the NABC do? And I don't know that it's hard to get all this stuff because it's always hard, I think, for coaches and our organization, like bringing attention to these good things. But that was a great idea by Jim, and I remember when he asked us to support that and get your league to support that. I was in the Big East at the time with that, and so we got our group behind it, our coaches, and then we went to the ACC and looked to do that. So it's obviously something that we probably need to get out there more. I don't know if enough of our members understand what it is. And certainly given the time, there's going to be a lot of people with, I think we're all going through changes, sacrifices. So you see different athletic departments are losing money, and the revenue challenges they're going to have. Salaries, obviously, universities and are going to ask to be taken cut. But some people are going to lose their jobs, or some people are going to lose their opportunities. And so, this might be a time where it really becomes helpful. But I know of the stories that we have helped people. We as being on the board, we get to hear some of those stories, and it's nice. And so, I don't know that we get the word out there enough, but it's something certainly that Jim put together, and it's something that us as board members have been involved in and continue. And there's pretty good amount of money in that fund, as I was looking at the books the other day. I'm now an accountant.
Troy, anything?
Yeah, Jamie, this Troy. We had Gino on earlier today, and
right.
One of the things he talked about that he thought was key to his success was the fact that when he was younger, one of his first jobs was skill development on, what was it, Tom, a girls' freshman team? And how teaching people that weren't very good at basketball skill development was key to his thought to success. So the two of you have that in common. I think that's pretty good. I don't know if you knew that or not, but the question I had, and I just want just real quick on this because I know guys want to hear about the on the court stuff was, well, one of the hot topics that I know that you've on these phone calls you've been talking about is this proposed legislation to let students transfer and be eligible immediately. And it's obviously a hot topic with all the coaches. So just want to explain to the people on here the NABC stance on that proposed legislation and what the board's planning on doing regarding that.
Right. It's all day I've been on calls with that. I mean, I think I've been present for 4 or 5 days, but this has been something that's been ongoing. I've been in conversations with the NCAA for really the last year because they knew this was coming. This rule is, I hate to say it's being pushed down our throats, but it's what we're hearing. It's what we're seeing. It's a one-time transfer exemption, so the player can obviously transfer and be eligible right away. So as coaches, NABC, the coaches, we've always been against that. We've been for and I shouldn't say against that, but we've been for the players sitting out. We believe that academically it was the best thing for them. Development-wise, it's the best thing for them going into a new program, and also for competitiveness and growth for the kid and what they've done. So still, that has been the generally the coaches I talk to, the NABC. We put out something a couple weeks ago, a month ago, where we really expressed our feelings and that players should always sit out when they transfer. But we're in a tough time right now. We've got every other sport, only five sports in the college athletics. Do we have this rule where you have to sit out? It's football, it's men's and women's basketball, it's baseball now, who just went to that rule, and then ice hockey. So the NCAA, and oftentimes people point to the fact that all the other sports don't have to sit out. Well, and we understand that they don't have full scholarships. They have different rules, different sports, obviously, and not every situation is the same. But right now we're finding that with the legislation that is on board and in California and threats of some coming forward here, that they're going to rule that eventually that kids that transfer to the state of California, they are going to be eligible right away. And it's gone beyond really the NABC. It's gone beyond the NCAA. And we have to decide how much we want to fight it, or if we want to be part of the solution and have some parameters that are going with this one-time exemption. So a lot of discussions, been on the phone, had a Congress talk yesterday, going to have a board of directors call tomorrow. Congress is one coach from every conference, right, Troy?
Yep.
And then NABC call. Been talking to today. I talked to or yesterday I talked to the head of this transfer committee, working committee, the MAC commissioner. So we're getting a lot of feedback. Talked to the NCAA people yesterday as well. Today, different voices, and so getting a lot of feedback. But we're still forming our response to it, the NABC, and asking for opinions. I got a lot of good opinions yesterday. Troy, you were on that call from the Congress, and I thought some guys voiced some great concerns, and also I was surprised in that, realizing that a lot of the coaches on that call recognize that it's coming, and the timing of it is also interesting. Will it happen this fall coming, or will be held off to another year? And then we also have to remember, as basketball coaches, that's just not our sport. There's 5 other sports. So how they look at it, how it affects them, it's all different. But they want to get everybody under the same umbrella, and that's where the challenges lie. We know if it's a one-time transfer that generally kids are going to transfer. I tell this story now. Everybody's wondering why all these transfers. Well, with the grad transfer, we made it easier to transfer. With the waiver, we made it easier to transfer, or the NCAA did. Kids are going to transfer. That's what they've done their whole life. They've moved from team to team. AU for the best opportunity, most shots, most time, most minutes. Best travel, best gear. I mean, they best opportunity for them, and they've been making that choice for years. And by you make it easier to transfer, they will transfer. But just so we understand that, we addressed the APR issues. We addressed transfer notification date. We addressed tampering. A lot of other things other than just the rule going forward. And we've got to make that clear and be on that conversation, not just get left behind because we're against it. So if it's coming through, we've got to have some parameters around it. So something that I wanted to get across there, Troy, you asked the question. I went a little long, but that's all I've been doing for the last week. So I just I'm repeating back what I'm hearing from everybody else.
Well, there's nobody as up to date on it as you are, so we appreciate the update. And I'll turn it over to Coach McDonald now for a little bit of basketball talk.
Coach, you've done some great videos, and I was thinking while we're waiting, could you push your phone back a little bit so we can see the bottom of your just so we can see the bottom of it, and then
my daughter's grease board.
Yeah.
Push it back.
Just so we can see the bottom of it. A little bit more. More.
I don't know how much more room I got.
There you go. That's perfect. It just moved. There you go. Right there. So, Coach, you've done some unbelievable educational videos with Championship Productions on the 4-out and the spread motion. Do you want to kind of go through your offense a little bit and then counters, reads, maybe some sets, things you do? That'd be greatly appreciated.
All right. Well, we struggled offensively this year. I mean, we've always been good, so I wish you wouldn't have brought it up, but that's what you decided to do. You must have looked at our stats, our efficiency.
Your history is leads, so you've had some pretty good success.
We've been pretty good offense over the years. We've taken a step backwards the last year or two. I think 9 new players, 10 new players. The waiver rule, as we mentioned there, coming into play. Grad transfer coming into play. But so we've injuries coming into play. So we've been young. And I think the first thing is get old, get experienced. Have guys that have been in your program that understand what you're trying to do. It's all great to get it in a season, but for high school guys, you know this all the time. You've got new guys coming in more so. Junior college guys, you know that too. You've got half the team coming in new every year. But that was a battle for us. But over the years, we've evolved in that 4-out, 1-in offense. We kind of go into northern Arizona as an assistant with Ben. As you were talking, we're 3-out, 2-in. We became Rick Majerus disciples, believers. And so we started going to this 4-out, 1-in look, which kind of everybody does now. But we've adjusted over the years and changed how we do it. And, that's where we've had to recognize and play more to our strengths, play to our hide from our weaknesses, and try to get better in that area. But we've often been a team that was emphasized screening. That was our big thing, was screening in our 4-out, 1-in. Or we've oftentimes been a team in northern Arizona. We had 2 big kids that could score, so we isolated in the post. A couple of years ago here at TCU, is one of the best offensive teams I've ever had. And we played through a big kid, Vlad Brudzinski, I still can't pronounce his name, who's doing real well in Europe, and as he developed into an inside threat. So, we adapt to our personnel, but we've gone more to three-point shooting, as everybody has. We've gone to more movement or exchanges than screening in this time. And kids don't like to screen as much. We're calling moving screens more. Guys want to play off the dribble, shoot threes, and yeah, it's obviously we got to coach them, we got to give them do things, but they come in with that skill set, that mindset, and so and that's how the game's gone, as we know, with the analytics. So again, we do a lot of spacing of the floor. We really talk about space and pace, hard cuts, hard exchanges, movement without the basketball, occupying the defense, and then space at the same time, where we have 4-around-1, dead corner, slots as we call it. So again, just talking about the changes, the adapting. I don't know if we're still on there, but I'm going to keep writing like we are. Tom, are we there? This
look good. Just
okay,
be as dark as big and dark as you can be.
Okay. And so, and adjusting this. So with the Northern Arizona Pitt for a number of years, we were 4-around-1, but we had our guards. We would have 4, the slots, and we call the wings. And we use this as screening angles to do that and isolate the post. And we said we always wanted to be above the free throw line with our wing guys. And we were doing a lot of hitting, obviously, and screening, playing off the screen. So we had room to back cut, room to curl. We like to set flares a lot. So on the pass here, setting flares, we had that action off of. We had a 4-man or designated guy, sometimes maybe a 3, the more physical guy, the driver, where there was just a flare guy. So we could always set the flare from this spot. And we talked about driving baseline. But with this, it was more of a screening offense. Now we've gone to, as we talk about, and everybody's talked about, the NBA, probably more from European input game overseas. We've gone to 4-out, 1-in, and we're going dead corner now. So it used to be we emphasize stay above the wing, don't be flat. Now it's get as flat, get to that dead corner, touch the base, get here, which gives you more room to drive here out of this baseline, out of this slot drive or lane line drive, as we call it.
Hey, Coach.
There. Yeah.
Could you pull the easel a little bit closer to your knee, or a little bit closer? The TV, just pull it a little closer if you can.
Okay.
I'll tell you if you can stop, when you can stop. Keep going. I think you're in a good place. There you go. If a little, maybe 2 or 3 more inches, but that's pretty good because you can start to see things. Good. Good job.
I apologize. I thought
that's
we
all
had
right.
this. All right. So again, as I talked about the dead corners, and meeting the pass, coming up here to getting that catch. But again, it's more about giving these guys a little bit more room to drive. Again, depending on what you're doing with your big guy, so now it's a lot harder to have that guy that can score with his back to the basket. We've got this here more space because what we're doing, everybody's using this guy as a ball screen guy. We started out in our 4-1 motion, there were no ball screens. It was really to get the guy in the post and see the flare action, the walk away screen, the diagonal screen here, or the staggered double. But now it's about ball screening, creating space for the ball screen, for guys to play off of that. So a lot of adjustments. I thought 2 years ago when we were good, I think we were 1, 3, 4, 5, and as far as offensive efficiency, 4 or 5 in the country out of 353 teams, and and we were doing it different than we had at Pitt. We were always very good offensive efficiency, but that was a lot came from that, from offensive rebounding, scoring around the basket. But a couple years ago, we got really good playing out of this ball screen offense, shooting the three, not getting as many offensive rebounds. With this, we've adjusted. So, the thing that we did well this year was shoot three. We shot the three at a pretty good percentage, but we were high turnover, higher than we've ever been. Again, probably pointing to our youth. And then we were a poor free throw shooting team, and we didn't finish around the basket. Our 2-point shots efficiency not good enough. And so those are the things that we really have gone into the off season anticipating to work on with our guys, but obviously not able to do that now, but something we certainly talk about. So, I talk about the things that we really have to get better at next year. Again, it's taking care of the basketball, become a better offensive rebounding team. We've got to get more possessions, or more shots, I should say. We're giving away too many possessions with those things. Free throw percentage not good enough, too many turnovers, and offensive rebounds. We're getting a pretty good number, but we're not finishing as well, not scoring after the offensive rebound, and all this stuff we stat and all this stuff is synergy. So that's kind of the evolution of our 4 out, 1 in, and a short little concise.
Can I ask you some questions, Coach?
Yeah.
Do you want the post player to stay on the opposite side of the ball?
Right. We've gone back and forth on that, and last year we had a new big and hadn't played college basketball before, and was a good defender, rebounder for us, but offensively not great skills. So we did tell him to stay away from the ball, opposite the ball. So it was on this side of the floor. Obviously, we kept him away and tried to give driving opportunities. I think we're not like dribble drive in the respect that you hear a lot of teams on. We really do want to play through our post and have in the past. We did back away from it a year ago because of our new big. But this year we wanted to really try to develop and get his growth, so we kept him on the strong side and kept him on one side. Sometimes we tell our guys to play to their strong block if we want to keep them on one side. So if there's a guy that's obviously, you've seen players that they work a lot better, a left shoulder guy, right-handed guys on the side, just play on that block. So play off of penetration here, duck-ins when the ball gets swung to that side. So we've played through both, but we've been more of a ball screen out of this in our motion, and so we've given guys the opportunity. We're really looking at scoring more next year going forward with scoring before the catch, so we really want to get catches closer in and closer to the rim, and so that's something that we're going to have to develop with him and with these guys on the perimeter as far as passing and the duck in, the physicality, and then between all of them, the timing. So, that's, obviously people do it different, which ways, but we certainly adjust to where as far as where we put our big guy. We want to adjust to what we're looking to do.
Can you run this with 3 guards and 2 posts?
Yeah, I think yes, you can, because like I said, it's our 4 out, 1 in. But what do you want to do with that post? I mean, when you say that, meaning play 4 out, 1 in, but they have post skills in that other big. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah. I think you can. And like I said, we did that 4 out, 1 in. You can make that guy a screener. And so some things we did in our motion this year, and we've done a little bit is, and we do it more with a shooter, but you can have this guy be a pass and follow guy. So when you say another post in there, another big, I'm taking it. He's not a skilled guy, not a shooter, not a ball handler guy who can go off the drive. So any pass and follow he throws, any pass he throws, he can go follow and be a screener. And then this guy can be screening as well, so you get a stagger out of it. But the thing I like about this is it creates space for that guy to drive, and it simplifies it. We were trying to simplify our offense a little bit because of our 10 new players. And so you can pass and follow by this guy if he's a screener, or you can make this guy a walk-away guy, a screener guy, and coming off of it. So there are ways you can incorporate it. I mean, I think everybody's playing 4 out 1 in, but you can find what your guy does well. If I assume that he's a good screener if he's a post. If he's not a skill guy, if you got him out there, he's got to be able to do something well. Find what he does well and use it to your advantage. So if he can't shoot and he can't drive it, hopefully he's got to be a really good screener. And if he don't have that, then I don't know why he's out there. I lost it. You're on mute.
Here's the next question is,
Yeah.
What rules have you implemented in the motion to make sure your players stay out of each other's way?
Yeah. Okay. Well, on the exchange, that's good. We talk about, he's exchanging on the inside. He's exchanging on the outside. We emphasize spacing. So on a pass hits, we can exchange here. All right. We talk about what you'll often find on this exchange of spacing is this guy walks, the guy running to the ball is in a full sprint, which is amazing how that is so consistent. And the guy that's running away from the ball, he seems to be jogging in the same spot. So we talk about they should be crossing paths at the free throw line extended. That means both guys are going hard on that exchange. Again, some people are very stationary on it. I believe in movement, trying to occupy these guys on the defensive end. Sometimes they'll be switching the exchange, and we talk about breaking off or back cutting or curl cutting or a diagonal cut coming to this spot over here, so versus the switch. So there are ways to counter it, but again, dead corner here, slots here, any catch here is a through cut, and then the big, I think maybe what he's referring to, and maybe on the ball screen, do you have any contact with him? And what we did find is when teams are physical and trying to block, bump this guy coming through, sometimes you may have some guys running into each other or slowing down their pace through there. So we really talk about the guy getting through, not getting knocked off his route when setting the screen or when sprinting out. So those are what we're looking for. But again, it's simple motion, the exchange, the through cut. It's simple motion whereby we're really looking to just keep it spaced and give our guys opportunity to drive. But a lot of ours is you got to get some paint touches. And how are you going to do that? With a ball screen is our belief, with a post touch with that, or drives of reversal. So if it gets reversed here, drive in the reversal against that team that's packed in and to the ball.
What are the movements of your 4 perimeter players as they pass to another player or to the post player?
Right. Well, I talked about that, the reversal exchange. I talked about the pass to the corner or the wing when he does fill, so he's in the dead corner, and that's a through cut where he goes through and they fill here, looking for the ball, but just giving us movement. And then we've done different things on hitting the post. So if he fills up to the wing here, gets the catch, and fills and hits, different things. We've called the slash where both guys dive, strong guys, and we've liked that. We thought we've gotten pretty good action out of this, where they both dive looking for the ball on this. And we say elbow, so we want space when they cut. They can cut on the backside, but that's very rare. But this is the post touch, the slash, and then the fill cuts. And we really find that this guy oftentimes is open. Again, this is something we've done to try to get more inside-out action to get passes here. But we've done the split cut where we screen there. We've held them where we've had them relocate versus double teams. So we've gone here with it and dove another big. We're talking about playing two posts. If you have you feed the big, the other big always diving to the weak side block. So whatever it may be, if he feeds here, get to that weak side block. It's here, and on the fly of the ball, diving to that weak side block. And that's a great advantage offensive rebounding wise. So if you do have the two bigs, he's got to be, and he can't shoot it, he can't drive it. You've got to be able to screen. You've got to be able to offensive rebound, or I just don't see the value in playing the guy on the offensive end. So those are, there's plenty of things that we can do. We try to keep that when feeding the post, not getting a guy in that dead corner. We just feel they have a little bit more room to work. But again, you got to have a guy that can score with his back to basket. 2 years ago, we had a guy who was very good, and we could throw him to the ball off the block. This past year, not as good a success with that. And that's what we have to learn to adjust to and get better at.
Again, I apologize. A lot of questions about drills. Is there any breakdown drills you can do for your cutters, your perimeter players?
Yeah. We did. We got one with this year, and we thought it was pretty good. It was a nice team drill. I'll show you that one as we go. And it's a little chaotic. You need a lot of managers or passers, or if you just did it in one basket, but we would break it down into two. So, and these are two group drills that we had, shooting drills. I like this. We have our main floor. We have two baskets when we practice there. So and when we go on the road or whatever reason, I like to have shooting drills. We do a lot of shooting drills. So drills where you have 15 guys with you or 13 guys, whatever it may be, but where guys are all getting shots. And on with just two baskets. So I've kind of come up with some drills. We've seemed to be in more of that now with that. So we've got a few drills that we do that incorporate what you're saying, movement offensively with a lot of shots. So we call it 3-ball shooting and 4-ball shooting when we hit the post. So let's go with this one here, 4-ball shooting. So again, we start with the ball here over here with one ball. And then this is a 5-ball shooting drill. So we got balls under here. So we need 4 managers, coaches under here. Again, we throw the ball, and I get it all right here. It's hard to put all 13 guys or 8 guys, what we're going to have. But swing it here, all right? And we do and get it swung. And then so it's a post feed. We'll have a defender here to work on our post feed, all right? And we make our cuts, our slash cut, whatever cut we're doing, split, and playing out of it. And so if he's slashing 2, he's here, he's getting to there on this as they cut. Give him space to feed, and he can feed the cutter. He can feed the slasher, but these guys fill. So whatever guy he hits, it's a shot, and then and it's really a post passing. We could have a defender there. That's good to make this guy pass out of it and to see. We don't let him throw to this guy because that's too simple a pass, but filling to here or filling to here or filling to here, hitting those guys. And then with that said, he gets a shot. The managers, all 5 guys get a shot. We keep track of it on both ends, and you keep score. So we have a running tally that we do on that. So again, one basket, got a lot of guys, want to get shots, day of a game, day before a game, we do that. But we put a defender on this guy, so it makes him pass and makes him look opposite. We really emphasize his footwork. And, it's a simple way of trying to make guys that maybe not great at passing with their back to the basket. So pivoting, passing out of it. The other one we do with more on the perimeter passing or playing out of that is playing off the drive, and that's 3-ball shooting. So 4 guys here and driving it and driving it here. Or actually, I'll make it 3-ball shooting. We'll do it either way. and we can catch it. We can catch it in here. So this guy's here. You got a big. So he's going here, driving here. We go behind. He can throw it to this guy. He can throw it to the big on the relocate, the dotted, and then he relocates after penetrating. Relocates after penetrating. So he's going here. So then 2 balls are coming to the big who doesn't get it, or this guy who doesn't get it, and then the guy relocating. So it's 3 balls, and you're keeping track of how many go in, and you got them going at both ends. So I don't know how this is going with this board, but hopefully it's giving some.
I think people are getting it because they're asking questions.
Okay, so so it's a good drill. Again, everybody's on the floor, everybody's involved. You adjust it to your offense, what you're looking for. So we really emphasize this pass here, this guy getting behind on this, because we're finding a lot of teams are getting good help on this drive, and they're rotating down here on the crackdown and on the flatten, and now we got to be able to see this guy as well. So we can do it from different spots. We can do it from here too, where they fill, 2 guys are filling here, and then they can catch it at this spot, and you can drive it here, and the big relocates and gets dead, and he throws it here. He relocates back, and manager throws it to this guy, as this guy shoots first. So it's 3 ball shooting, and then do it that way. So you have them running to get to those dead corners. So it's what you're emphasizing, but sometimes you just got to emphasize things or create drills that fit what you're doing. Emphasizing the pivot at the end of this, the relocate, the behind out of this, because we wanted to see this pass, and getting 3 guys shooting the ball. So that's what we want to do. So we want to get guys using the footwork, seeing the guy that they haven't been seeing in the games, the open guy, and getting shots out of that, but continuous, and then the next group coming on.
Coach, could we keep you on a little longer?
Yeah. How are we going? Oh, we're past the time already, huh?
Can we keep you a little bit longer?
Yeah. I gotta go.
Can you talk about zone offense a little bit? I know you used the 3 out a little bit on the zone offense. Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we used to we had a reputation at Pitt of being very good offensively against the zone, because we faced a lot of it in the Big East. So my belief was to be good at it. I would say this: to be good at it, zone offense, you've got to practice it, and you can't practice it for 2 days before the first time you see zone offense. So, and that's what happens oftentimes. You haven't seen it all year long, or you haven't seen it for months. So you got to practice against it every day. And I think that's important. You also got to practice that early. I mean, one of my concerns at Pitt I developed was we were good, and we're good right now. And I feel like if we're early on in early games, one way that we could lose a game is a team coming in and zoning us early in the season. And so my belief, we start working on zone offense first day of practice, and my assistants are always amazed at how early we work on it. And I may have to readjust because we haven't faced a lot of zone lately, but we've been pretty good against it. But you need to work on it consistently. You need to work on it from the start of practice, and you need to work against the zone that you're playing against too. That's the other thing. So one thing I did at Pitt was we were strictly a man team. Rarely would we play zone, but I wanted to have a second defense, and so we kind of played a zone defense that the majority of our league played. Syracuse played that 2-3, obviously, and Seton Hall played it at the time. Louisville, Providence as well. They're all kind of Boeheim disciples. So I said, you know what? Let's put that zone in as our last second, as a last resort defense, and more so we could practice against it for all those teams that we were going to play. So I'm just giving you reasons why or how to play against the zone, to do that. and you got to put the time in. It's not something all of a sudden you come and get good at zone offense after 2 days doing it. It's or a play that you put in. A play might work once, maybe. I'm not big on plays against the zone. I feel like guys run a play against the zone. They run it. They don't get the shot. Now they're at 11 or 10 on the shot clock, and all of a sudden they've got to get back onto their actions or their concepts or their what they're trying to do. So I like to have a constant attack against a zone offense and resets. So you don't want resets against the zone offense with a zone offense. You let it 2-3. You got to be constantly attacking a zone. You got to be constantly attacking. So if you attack, run a play, back it off, let that zone get set again, I just think it becomes very difficult to go against. The other thing too, and I talked about a little bit earlier, is you got to be a great offensive rebounding team against the zone. You got to really emphasize that, put back, scoring against, and that's something we really did well. Get second shots against the zone offense. You've got to be, and that's part of the offense. That's run good offense, get a good shot, and then have your rebounders go rebound. That's to your advantage. You have the big, if you have a zone and you have the 5-man and their 4's got to come out here and make a late contest here, and 5's got to run out here and get a contest on the shot. Well, guess what? Forget making the shot. You got the bigs run around. You got to get an offensive rebound on the miss. So you've got to get these guys scrambling around, flying out late, and guys taking shots when the other 4 guys know it's going up. So on the flight of the ball, as it's getting passed to this guy, these guys are already going to the glass on this pass because they know and feel that this shot is going up. So run good offense against that. But 3 in, 3 out, 2 in. But we've adjusted, to the defense. But against a 2-3, we generally run a 3 out, 2 in. But looking to attack, depends what you want to attack. Here's the simplest way we look at it. If it's a 2-3 and the forward's coming out here to guard this, to the high post, if this guy's taking the high post and the forward's guarding the wing out here and this forward's out, this guy looking to attack the short corner. If the guard is coming out here to guard the wing here, all right, guard the wing here, that means we're looking to attack the elbow, either with a screen from the other big here, screen here, or a catch if the other guy's here for the catch. So I try to start and simplify it by saying who's guarding the wing. If it's the forwards out here, attack the short corner with a bounce pass or the corner, depending on what you have down here. Or if the guard is guarding that 2-3, then look to attack this elbow area with a screener or a passer getting a catch. And that's one thing I always tell this guy at that spot when the ball's at the wing. You're either one of 2 things, nothing in between. You're either a passer or a catcher and a receiver. And so if this guy's in front of you, you're a screener. So you're screening that guy. If the guy's behind you, then you're a receiver. You're looking to get a catch on the ball there. So again, 2 simple characteristics, but or rules, but I think they're important to get across early in zone attack.
Coach, we may have lost your video. We can hear you fine. So Troy's got a couple questions for you, and then I do. Let's see if your video comes back. There it is. Go.
Low battery. Low battery.
Hey, Jamie, I'm looking at the board here. Coaches are sending in questions, and I'm seeing the themes. I'll read this one here. It says, what's your offensive rebounding philosophy? Send 3, 4, all. And I want to thank Scott from Waco for submitting that question, by the way.
Got Drew, huh?
Well, there are a lot of questions about your offensive rebounding and what drills you do, because you always have good rebounding teams and stuff like that. There's a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was, we were good this year, not great. We've always been really, really good. I think it's more an emphasis than anything. It's shot selection, kind of like I just talked about there. Taking good shots, running good offense is important on rebounding. We've made a really, I think we can have a great offensive rebounding team. I use this as an example. There was two analytics programs out there way back when, and it was Ken Palm did it, and offensively we were ranked really high. I mean, consistently year after year in the Ken Palm we were ranked really high in offensive efficiency, always in the top 20 in the country, oftentimes in the top 10, and then another one we weren't ranked as high. We were never consistently as high on that. And I always wondered what it was. So I asked the two guys that ran these services, these analytics sites, and I tried to say, how is this so different? And I recognized that it came to me was in Ken Palm, an offensive rebound is considered the same possession. So if you shoot, you miss, you score on the rebound, offensive rebound, it still was one possession. On the other side, if you shot, you missed, and you got the offensive rebounds, it meant you didn't score on your first possession, but you scored on your second possession. So that to me was, I always thought of an offensive rebound as being a basket on your possession. I mean, that's part of your offense. And so that's always been an emphasis on it. So I use that example because I think it shows your mentality has to be offensive rebounding is part of your offense. It's not an accident. It's not luck when you get an offensive rebound. It comes from running good offense and, simply put, I think defining your roles. We have and we adjust. It's usually 3 guys to the glass and 2 guys back. We have had 4 guys go to the glass and 1 guy back, and we've had times we've had 3 guys back. Oftentimes we'll have 3 guys back and 2 guys go into the glass offensively. But the rule is we don't want any guys going to the offensive glass that can't rebound. I mean, there is no in between. There is no standing out here. It's get back to half court and it's fly in and get to the weak side glass for the other guys. So, there's no point in putting a guy. You can say send 3, but if this guy can't get a rebound or doesn't go, there's no point in sending him. Have him get back. And so that's a big part of that. But the 2 that you send or the 3 that you send, they go every single time. So define it. And Coach Benford, he's brought some new offensive rebounding drills to us. What we need to get better at next year, and what I was talking about, is our offensive rebound numbers are pretty good. Not as good as I want them, a little lower than they have in the past, but we didn't finish. So we got to get better at getting an offensive rebounder, yes, but more importantly, finishing around the basket or kicking out to 3. And that's what we want. But we really emphasize offensive rebounding and weak side rebounding. So shot goes up. We something we work on here. Have a guy shooting it from this side. We work on wedging, pushing under. Put a manager, put a coach, put another guy under there, and wedge underneath the basket. Show your hands. Use your lower body. There. We do another rebound. We call 180 rebounding drill, and we throw it up against the backboard. Catch it with a 180, so you're facing here, facing backwards, and then you got to pivot to finish. So that's kind of more of a finish drill, rebound and finish drill. So we've got a number of them that we do. We generally do 2 of them a day, rebounding drills, just basic drills of footwork, and then obviously we'll throw in our war drills and different drills to get after it and throw some bodies. The other thing we do is in a lot of our drills, if there's an offensive rebound, we give a point for an offensive rebound, and if you score, another point. So you really double your score if you get an offensive rebound. So again, by emphasizing that and rewarding that, I think we make ourselves better offensive rebounders.
Coach,
So,
can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask you to go to a different direction? In your you were going to speak in Nashville, which was going to be an unbelievable clinic. You're going to talk about the 131 press. Could we ask you to give a skeleton? I think it says here, converting. Hold on, let me get here. Converting into a 131 press.
What?
Yeah.
What was I going to talk about that?
I think you ran a little 131.5 court, didn't you, this year?
No.
Was it a 2-3 or 1-1-3?
A 1-1-3 maybe, yeah.
Is there any way you could walk us through that a little bit?
Oh, okay. We just tandem. We adjusted. We've gone to a tandem instead of that 2-3. We've started in a tandem or a one. It looks like a 1-3-1. So I guess that's probably what it was. What we're talking about. But I don't know much about that either. But we do run it a little bit. I don't know if it's real good, but we do run it. So I mean, the big emphasis now is taking away 3, and so you got these guys that are the wings that used to be guarding the corners are now out here now, and so you any pass going over here, they got that. This guy's bumping, he's going down, and this guy's shading, not allowing that direct pass to the corner. Really emphasizing that short corner pass because then we're trapping there. So, it's getting that wing that you don't want any indecision. You certainly don't want any point to wing passes, but this forward has to be out on this, and he's shading. So you've heard the term or seen it where teams are guarding, taking away the shot, but they're also taking away this pass to the corner, direct pass, and then this guy's coming here to bump and square. So with that said, he's got to get to nail. He's got to get to the other guy's got to get to the nail. This guy's got to get to the block, and this guy's got to shade here, and then back in if there's nobody there on it. I tell you what, we got to get the guy on the weak side more engaged. So if he's over here, if this pass goes here, now he's got to get back to foot in the paint, and recognizing that. So that's something we've got to do a better job of here. And this guy's got to get more here, and then you got to have ball pressure on this guy. But again, we really try to take away that elbow, and similar to talking about zone offense, we don't want anything getting in there, so we take it. So stay above. If there's a guy at that elbow, we stay above him, but don't want to get screened at the same time. So something we talk about, negotiate the screen here, hand in front, take it away. But that's a little bit what we've done. But offensive rebounding, that's big. Finding a guy to block out. I'd say this guy that's got the elbow, we really tell him to get whoever, block out whoever's at that high post. Block out who's ever at that high post. So that's big. That's huge.
I appreciate it. Troy, do you got anything for Coach?
No, I think we've exhausted him enough. And there's his battery's dead, so it may be going down anyway.
Yeah.
I would just say for all the webinar guys, the people that are on here, and for me, being a guy that gets to sit in the room and just listen to you guys and get to know you, you've been nothing but supportive to two-year college student athletes, to fellow coaches, to be on this. You've been nothing but the best, and I appreciate your friendship and for being on here. It's been great, and thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you for what you're doing. This was a great idea, and great. You've done an unbelievable job putting it all together. I think it's great for the NABC going forward, and you've been a valuable addition to our board and what you've done. So I appreciate your friendship. We go way back, and Troy, you too as well, who's a big part of the NABC, and I think this is a good start. We're gonna, like I said, through strange times, some opportunities will arise, and I think this is one of them here as we go forward.
Remember membership. Remember the Benevolency Fund. Thanks for everything. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock Central Time, Sherry Cole. And then we got, who do we have? Gannon Baker. We got a great day tomorrow too, Coach.
Sherry's good. I've seen her in a clinic. I was in a clinic with her. She's really good. I haven't been with Gannon. I haven't seen him in action. I've seen him. I've seen him on the floor. I haven't seen him at a clinic. Gannon
Baker's going to do it live outside in his driveway tomorrow. so moms and dads, coaches can see, hey, send these things to your kids, what they can do outside since we can't be with them. It's going to be pretty good.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I got to go walk the dogs now, so. I'm pretty
And
busy.
don't forget the cat. Don't
Yeah,
forget the cat.
Yeah, that's indoor cat.
Troy, have a great night. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Coach Dixon. Have
All
a
right.
great night.
Thank you.
See you,
Thanks
Troy.
again.
Thanks, Jamie.